On your way?
No.
Welcome everyone. Thanks for joining us to celebrate our 50th year of operation, which is an amazing achievement. So I get to put your hands together, please, for all the volunteers and everything. As part of our celebrations today and on Boxing Day, obviously we're going to run a few trams. It's obviously good to have 40 trams to operate on our new system in 1974. I'm going to pass you over to our former President Richard Gilbert, who can share some stories about our 50th year of operation. So could you put your hands together please for Richard?
Well, there we go. Thank you very much, and it's lovely to see the members here, the new members as well as the more senior members. It's a good representation of people to keep this museum going. I'll put my little winkers on so I can read a few notes. If we're lucky, we'll get Gavin to make a speech later on too. We'll see how we go. But we're here 54 years after the first meeting was called by Bill Jessup to promote his idea of saving part of the tram history of Ballarat, and it's 50 years after our first run of trams. So there's two dates, 54 years we've been existing, 50 years running the trams. And when we had this great idea to preserve part of the tram system here, we were in a very fortunate position, and that was the tram system was still operating. A lot of these other tramway museums around the country and our colleagues over in New Zealand had to go and find garden shacks, tin sheds and cattle feeders to make up their tram fleet from former trams. We were lucky with the SEC still running the system. We had 6 trams made available to us, and we basically had a ready-to-run fleet. Well, 50 years later we're finding out the ready-to-run ain't that ready. We've got to do a fair bit of work on the tram car body maintenance. But in saying that, our maturity in recognising the full and complete story of the Ballarat tram history has seen us add 4 shacks to define our collection. That being number 1, the horse tram, number 12, the marvellous project of Ballarat's first electric tram, and 21 and 22, which are out of Bungaree, the crossbench Mastopol cars. So there's a lot of maturity in our thinking. When we first started the museum, we wanted to preserve the SEC trams. We thought that was the whole story of the Ballarat tram fleet. Not even casting our thoughts towards horse trams, early electric trams, and the different operators that made it go. So we had a big learning curve that just the men in the green uniform driving the trams around the city that we took dearly to. We operated a fantastic and importantly on the site where the trams have run from the start way back in 1887. And the enthusiasm of our membership putting this together, I also acknowledge the support of other bodies such as the Ballarat City Council, who gave us permission to use this block of land. We leased it from them. They could have easily said, no, go away you people. But they had foresight, and we are on this property and have gradually extended our grip on the size of the land. And the state and federal government and the local politicians from those areas have supported us greatly, and latterly the support from VicTrack in repurposing redundant equipment has made our task really much more achievable with spare parts and components. The volunteers have developed to run the museum since 1971, and I pay gratitude and recognition to them over the years. And importantly, I recognise and appreciate the volunteers of today who keep this tradition and input of enthusiasm and commitment alive. And that's very important. We go to other tramway museums and they're moaning and groaning in the main that they don't know where the next volunteers are coming from, and we're all old and it's going into decline. But the size of this city, which is growing anyway, and the amount of support generated within the city, let alone from outside, to see new volunteers come along. And it's all different age brackets, so some people are quite senior in their new members, some are quite junior in their new members. But there's a lot of good spirit teamwork and comradeship amongst everyone who keeps this museum running at its first-class rate. Today, Ballarat benefits from the volunteer-run asset, and it benefits tourism, and to the city it's a first-class tourist attraction. There are people who've been around from the start. We've got Warren down there, Peter Winsper over there, Paul Nicholson, our first public relations officer, publicity man you were, weren't you? And Gavin Young, who's hiding from making a speech on it. But anyway, the people I've mixed with over the years and the people who aren't here today who think of us, they're distant away from us. Paul Miller was one of our board members. He lives in Manchester, so he can't be here today. But there's been a host of people over the years make this museum what it is, and it's fantastic. Being involved for around 54 years has meant my life has been intertwined with the museum, and in the last 24 years it sees me move to Clunes for lifestyle reasons, but part of that is to be closer to this great asset. So when we started life, we didn't expect we would not control our lives, but be quite involving in our lives, and to my point, moving up here to Ballarat and Clunes has been fantastic. Being involved has also created and developed lasting friendships with many people who are a great comfort as we move on in life. So I wish to say about the museum, I wish the museum, its members and the visitors and supporters of the museum well for the future. Welcome to the event today, and on Boxing Day we'll celebrate our 50 years of carrying passengers. So I welcome you all and thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Richard, for that great insight in the last 50 years of operation. To help celebrate our 50 years of operation, we're just going to unveil a plaque, and Richard's just coming around now. So this is to be mounted onto our new display building and showcase, obviously, the amazing achievement of 50 years. So I'll ask Richard to unveil. There we go. If you could put your hands together. So that's pretty well it for speakers now, but we're going to look to bring out number 40. Like I said, one of the first trams to operate on our new system 50 years ago. So as we just bear with us as we put the controller handles in, and we'll drive out 40. Thank you again.
I just would like to thank CK for donating finding it
And Arthur for organising today as well. All right, come on, Richard.
W5 Temporarily. The running of the someone put running up.
Yeah, O1.
Yeah. Just guess.
Oh, right. Yeah, I was a Golden Sunset tour. Yeah, I think it's on the 14th of December for the
That we didn't run on. Together,
There'll still be a bit of a gap.
I'll go get Tram. Just going to move forward. Just stay clear. I'm just going to move forward.
Yeah.